Right, let's look at our chimp trekking experience. A few days after the gorillas, we did the chimp trekking. This was on the 24th of December actually. And we traveled north just across the equator, got to Kibale National Park, and we trekked the chimps there. They've got about, I think, 5 groups that has been habituated. And these groups vary in size, but they're roughly 120 chimps per group. So if you walk into one of these groups, then when they start calling, you know it. It's one of the most eerie things that you can ever hear is walking in the rainforest and hearing this these chimps call to each other. They bang on the root trees and makes a very loud banging sound. So they're quite scary if you if you walk around there. But they are genetically the closest to humans on the planet. So yeah, that's why I say we are very close to the chimps, so we have to look at their behavior and really think about ourselves. This is the nicest picture I got from the chimps. I think it's a female lying on a tree quite high up, so the zoom and everything just worked well at that point. But when we arrived, it started raining, and it was bucketing down in a typical rainforest rainstorm. So the chimps move up out of the mud and they sit in the trees, and therefore in the beginning we were stuck with views of chimp bottoms looking up into the trees as the chimps were just basically sitting at the top of the trees doing their thing. So a few videos. This one is of 2 chimps grooming each other, and this was still up in the tree. It was a big a wild fig tree that is one of their favorite food sources in the forest, and you can see the figs in the background. A bit shaky because it was very high in the tree, but a bit of footage that at least you can see the chimps from there. Yeah, they were sitting high up foraging on the figs, and this video you can clearly see how this young chimp is picking it off. Sorry about the shaking, it's just me breathing. The zoom was out very long at this point, so this was just the young chimp busy feeding on bits and pieces of the wild fig tree. It was incredible to be close to them. It's an easier walk, as I said, much easier than the gorillas, and yeah, really an incredible experience. Another picture of a chimp close by, and in the same time when you're there, you also see a few monkeys, red-tailed monkeys, all kinds of other things that happen. And then after a while, the chimps started coming down, and we could capture some images of them dropping and doing their thing, and it was quite cool to see them walk amongst us in the floor of the forest. So really cool. But at this point I packed my camera away, and when they all came down I left it packed away, and I was just very happy to spend the rest of the afternoon just taking in who they are and what they are all about. Well, moving on to the Nile River. After we completed the chimp trekking, we went past Kampala and traveled towards the White Nile origin. Very nice campsite, grass, trees, shade, lovely restaurant, everything worked well, and of course the Nile River itself. Now, of course, when there's water and there's a sunset, then there's a sunset cruise. So the guys again went out for a sunset cruise, this time on the Nile. It was our off day, 2 days off actually. Time for some kayaking, time for some rafting, and time for just a little bit of relaxation. We did have a bit of noise outside of the campsite because the local team the local people were celebrating Christmas and the victory of the soccer team, and that justified a big party. So the first night was a bit noisy, but otherwise, yeah, lovely. The guys went out for the for the cruise. We had a 2 nights, lovely, relaxing. And then we started our journey south to get back home. We went through Kenya, didn't make any stops in Kenya. Well, no big stops, just stopovers. But otherwise, we went down to Karatu. As I said, I wanted to give the guys an extra day in the crater. And this is one of the pictures of the crater itself from the viewpoint. It's one of the most open days that I've ever seen the crater. I've been there many times now, but it's always a spectacular sight. Down on the water, a few pictures of what we saw when we were there, the flamingos in the water, and a few of the old Dugga boys. When I was posting this picture now, I just realized that there's 2 hyenas in the background that I did not see when I was there, which is quite funny. But yeah, also on the trip, golden jackal, something that we don't see in South Africa. It's one of the local jackals, the golden jackal. And she popped out with two, there was a few, about 5 pups. And it was actually the golden jackal den where we were. Grey crown cranes, a big part of the beauty of the crater itself. And also a few elephants around. Really a lovely sight. The crater is part of my Serengeti tour as well, and it's always worth going there. It's the most incredible place, as far as I'm concerned, on the face of this planet for wildlife. The diversity, the peacefulness, and just absolutely incredible stuff that you will find there. Something else that was nice to see when we were there was a mother and a calf hippopotamus at one of the hippo pools. Quite pretty. She was doing rolls for us, and I decided, let me get the video camera out and see if I can capture a roll. And the little calf also did his thing, and he came past and showed himself. And then she did the roll for us. The calf doing a dive with his mother. That was quite cool, quite special to see. Then of course you always have the lions. They are there. Really lovely group of lions that we saw. I think in total, if I have to guess, there was probably about 12, 15 of them in total. I'm not quite sure. A few big males, a few young males, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and really quite nice to see the lions. This hyena I did actually see, and therefore there is a photograph of it. And then just a panoramic view of the crater. You can see the dust of one of the vehicles that travels out there with people on it. The crater rim in the background, the buffalo, the zebra. Spectacular. This is just one of those places that you cannot beat. It never disappoints whenever you are there. So yeah, that is it. We were up at Karatu in the Ngorogoro area. There's the crater, there's the lake, you can see it. And then we started making our way back down again, all the way south through Ringa, all the way to Malawi. Swam in Lake Malawi, had a bit of a break, and ultimately we made our way back to Lusaka, and then down onto Livingston, where we slept for the last night, and made our way back home from there. So very enjoyable trip, lots to see. It's one of those trips that you, as a South African, we don't realize what lies above us within driving distance from our own homes. And the drive to Serengeti, the drive to Uganda, it's the same distances really. It's not far. So yeah, if you have the means, please don't delay this. This is really one of those trips that has all the aspects of making it enjoyable, interesting, whether it's culturally in Rwanda, whether it is primates and gorillas that we never see in South Africa, whether it's the Ngorogoro crater area with animals that we do recognize. It is something spectacular, it is something special. And I will do it again this year over December, roughly 8 December to 8 January. Those are the dates that I'm looking at. for various reasons, but that's the way I will structure it. There's certain rainy seasons, there's temperatures, there's sun, there's all kinds of things to consider when you plan one of these trips, and those are the dates that work. I know when to be where, and that's the important part. So yeah, join me. Have a look at the website. If you have any questions, please email me, phone me, ask me to come and have a coffee with you, and we can discuss it, and you can make your decision based on that. But put it on your bucket list. It is really worth it. And if you don't want to do the more tough gorilla walk, then the trip itself is rich in all other aspects. So you will definitely enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out on this space. There's more trips coming.